Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our district membership session. I wish to introduce myself. I'm Giselle Holder. I am but one half of our district membership chairs for the 2023-2024 year. And I hand over to Maurice for him to introduce himself as well. Oh, Maurice is still muted. There you go.
Bonjour à tous, ça me fait plaisir de vous retrouver pour cette session et nous allons passer un moment ensemble pour revoir pas mal de choses ensemble et je suis heureux de vous retrouver.
Fantastic. So with all things, because this is a district membership session, we have our district governor here. So we are going to invite him to bring a few words to everyone before we kick off our PowerPoint. So let me look for my DG Brian. I know he is on. Oh, there he is. Wonderful. So good evening again, DG Brian, and over to you.
Hi, good evening, Co-Chair Giselle. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting on celebrating the year and planning for the new one. This meeting is really going to be about transition and continuity. And in talking about celebrating the year, we'll review what we've done for the past almost 11 months, and put some emphasis on planning for the purge, which we all know is something that has happened in the past at the year end, but we'll spend more time on planning for the new year. Membership is being described as many things in Rotary. And I'm not going to burden you by adding another superlative to the descriptors that we often refer to membership by. But membership must be structured. And in our district, it's important that we recognize the legacy, the experience, and tradition of the older members, but embrace the enthusiasm and innovation of the newer members. And membership must be a vehicle that combines the combined expertise of everyone. I'd particularly like to welcome Rotary International Director-elect Patrick. I understand you're in Evanston at this time. Welcome. And we all look forward to hearing from you. And especially I would like to thank our dynamic duo, our leaders of membership for the past year. District Governor nominee designate Maurice, and of course, Assistant Governor Giselle. Thank you for all the wonderful work you've done with membership during the past year. But, as I said, membership is about continuity. So we have to continue to focus our efforts on growing membership, but growing membership responsibly and growing membership in a structured way. So thank you all for attending. And once again, welcome to this, what I'm sure will be an exciting session on membership. So thank you, Co-Chair Giselle, and back over to you.
Thank you so much, DG Brian. It's always lovely to have you in the room, even if it's virtually, right? So we do have a presentation that we are going to follow. And I will share screen now, and you should be seeing it shortly. There we go. Okay, so as our DG said, we are gonna follow through with what's happening this year, and also give some tips, some guidelines as to how to best prepare for the new year. As always, you'll have the tag team between Maurice and I. What's fantastic is we have the French to English translation. So Maurice gets to be very comfortable and speak in his mother's tongue, as they call it, okay? So let's go, guys. All right, so as mentioned, we're going to speak about finishing strong. We're going to get ready for that new year. You're going to meet our team, be inspired. We're going to leave you with some inspiration, and then the floor will be open for all questions or comments. So we are going to begin. No, so as always, Maurice and I are very natural. Right? So anytime Maurice wants to jump in, he will jump in. But this graph by now should be no stranger to you. We've shared it in our district conference. We've handed out a lot of awards because of this wonderful graph, because it represents you. It represents your club. It represents our members, right? In terms of what we have all been able to do, as DG said, over the last 11 months, right? Maurice, you want to jump in with these statistics?
Oui, oui, je voudrais dire tout simplement que voici une ligne bleue qui nous plaît. C'est une des plus belles progressions qu'on a eues depuis plusieurs années grâce à l'énergie commune de tous les Rotariens du district 70-30. Nous reviendrons un peu plus tard sur cette chute qui arrive en juin et en décembre et nous en parlerons et nous donnerons des détails par rapport à comment faire pour l'éviter. Et nous voyons déjà que nous avons bien réagi par rapport à la purge de juin et que forcément nous allons encore mieux réagir pour que l'année soit terminée dans les meilleures conditions et avec les plus beaux résultats.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, it's really wonderful that we could have this kind of result now, but just as Marie said, we're not done yet, right? So we are encouraging clubs to stick with it, right? A very important part of our year is coming. It's the June point, right? When we start to clean up. So in that cleaning up, we've encouraged clubs to remember that, you know, membership is an ongoing thing. It's not one-off, okay? So we need to be very careful in terms of how we treat with it. And it shouldn't only be dealt with twice a year because that corresponds with our invoices, okay? So the DG spoke about it, avoiding the purge. And we absolutely encourage you guys to do so. And we'll talk about that a bit more later on. So we move on to the strategy that Maurice and I would have implemented this year. And, you know, it was just three simple things mainly, right? We looked at each of the clubs recognizing that due to their size, their needs would be completely different. So we came up with a strategy of grouping clubs in the form of small, medium, and large, where small clubs had 20 or less members, medium clubs had 50 or less members, and large clubs had 51 or more members. And because we realized that they would also have similar issues, okay? And we also refrained from putting, and we had the full backing of our district governor, to not give just one goal, grow by 10%. No, it was very different for each group, right? The other thing was those, I will hand over to Maurice to speak about our quarterly meetups and how we did those meetings.
C'est une stratégie qui est toute simple, mais qui, je pense, a donné, comme on a pu le voir, de très bons résultats. D'abord, encore une fois, comme l'a dit Gisèle, le discours et la façon d'appréhender le membership est fonction du nombre de membres dans des clubs, de la taille des clubs, puisque les considérations et les problèmes sont propres en fait à chaque groupe de clubs. Nous n'avons pas voulu faire beaucoup de rencontres, mais ces rencontres ont été bien focus dans les problèmes que peuvent rencontrer les clubs. Nous avons beaucoup échangé avec les présidents, les secrétaires et les responsables d'effectifs, ce qui nous a permis de leur apporter, durant ces rendez-vous trimestriels, ben, les meilleures réponses à leurs problématiques. En même temps que nous avons pu avoir des discours et des échanges personnalisés avec les différents clubs, surtout ceux qui passaient une mauvaise période, et qui a pu faire en sorte qu'ils ont trouvé des solutions et qu'ils ont pu améliorer et en tout cas solutionner les obstacles à leur effectif. Donc, c'est une stratégie simple, mais qui a donné de très bons résultats et qui apparemment a répondu à l'attente des différents clubs de notre district 70-30. Merci.
Yeah, exactly. Our district is so unique. So we need to make sure that we have a unique solution when we're speaking about membership. So absolutely. And it speaks to our availability, being that very open, very, yes, open to your issues, to any concerns you may have. So you can call us, message us. That's really what we had this year and hope to continue into next year. So thanks so much for that. And we are moving right into the next slide where we focus on finishing strong. So the zone actually had a few calls on finishing strong. And it's so interesting that without consultation, this was the exact same points that Maurice and I felt we needed to reiterate. So we're going to continue the strategy that we just described of having those quarterly meetings, of remaining available to you, right? And also splitting up the clubs again. Because the good news is, coming out of this year, some clubs that were small are now in the medium category. So we're not going to leave you where you are, right? You guys are going to rightfully now be in the medium category. And that transition, that growth, is so encouraging for us because it means you guys accepted the challenge and knew exactly what to do. So we are very excited. We also are encouraging you to avoid purge, right? So we've said it a little bit, our DG mentioned it, I touched on it a bit, but the purge is so crucial. Many zones refer to it differently, but everyone has the same challenge, where because of how we operate as Rotary clubs, because we get invoiced twice, to help avoid the invoice as one of the main reasons, we tend to either have persons resigning at that point in the calendar, December or June, or right before it, right? Or we have clubs doing their own cleanup when they notice members who do not, have not, been attending or around, and so they send their letters, they follow the procedure in hopes that by June 30th or before that, they could remove persons from the list. And we want to say there's so much more you could be doing. And many of our clubs actually adopted these strategies because, as we said before, membership is so much more than 2 times any calendar, right? We need to be proactive. We need to speak to our membership, see where they are at, understand what they are going through, so that we can be there for them. We can understand what flexibility within our club culture that we can put in place. Okay, Maurice, I'm going to hand over to you for the other 2, or if you want to say anything on the page as well, for sure.
J'aimerais que Gisèle nous remette la courbe, le 2e slide, si c'est possible. Ou Mario, peut-être, si c'est lui qui s'occupe de ça. La 2e, oui. Vous voyez sur ce graphique, cette purge, cette chute extraordinaire de décembre. Ce sont des statistiques, mais ce n'est pas une fatalité. il faut considérer que ça arrive si on ne fait rien. Et au district 70-30, on va faire. Au district 70-30, on n'est pas témoin de ce genre de choses et on ne fait rien. C'est pour ça que nous allons nous mobiliser, travailler ensemble, très rapidement, mettre en place des task force pour travailler ensemble. Et nous sommes, Gisèle et moi, et bien d'autres de la team, nous sommes disponibles pour en discuter. Alors, je ne vais pas vous donner toutes les façons de l'éviter, mais il y en a une seule que j'aimerais vous parler. C'est le moment, en juin en tout cas, et même en mai, de donner beaucoup de votre énergie pour le fellowship, beaucoup de votre énergie pour vous rapprocher de vos membres, beaucoup de votre énergie pour les écouter plus qu'avant. Essayez de mettre en place avec vous, avec votre secrétaire, avec les CMCs, les responsables effectifs, et surtout, ne pas oublier les parrains et marraines, les sponsors qui doivent travailler avec vous pour que cette chute qui ne me plaît pas du tout ne soit pas, qu'on ne doit pas en faire l'expérience cette année. Et nous ne la ferons pas au 70-30 parce que nous allons travailler ensemble pour éviter cette purge. Et je compte bien sur vous pour nous contacter s'il le faut et pour mettre tout en place pour être proche de vos membres et augmenter le fellowship pendant cette année pour montrer que non seulement on demande, le Rotary demande aux membres beaucoup de choses, mais aussi que le Rotary donne beaucoup à ses membres. Merci.
Thanks so much, Maurice. Exactly. I love that. All I could say is exactly. That's perfect, right? And you know, we have so many things, as Maurice mentioned. But a key thing, of course, in addition to what Maurice said, is you know that handover from one club membership chair to the other, and it's for any position, as we know. So if we put all this energy into ensuring presidents and secretaries hand over successfully to their incoming position, to the incoming persons, then why isn't that same energy and focus being given to the club membership chair? If you have had a successful year through whatever strategies you have taken as club membership chair, share the story. Okay, it's not some secret that you had a fantastic year and we're leaving the other person, as we say in Trini, to catch, right? So we want that it's a handover, it's a transition, it's a continuation of the strategy that can be built upon, because that's how we get that continued success. So the other thing that Maurice mentioned is that the statistics that are shown are not just from 1 year. Through the Membership Success Center, they have actually pulled data, and the zone is responsible for this. They've pulled data from a series of years, I believe it's 3 to 5 years or so. They look back to see how your district is performing. And that's why we got that yellow line, because that's how we behave as well. We go good, we drop down. We go again, we drop down, right? So our blue line is really standing strong. And so we want to finish strong. And last but not least, we are encouraging you. We know pets in person has gone. We know the virtual pets have gone. But there is an upcoming makeup pet session that is virtual and on Saturday. And it is the perfect opportunity actually for our club membership chairs incoming to attend. So if you couldn't make it to conference, or maybe you couldn't make it to pets, you can certainly come to this free virtual session that is going to do pets in a condensed way and hear from our incoming district governor of all the things that are planned for the new year, because we want you to know what's happening, to be equipped and to be ready, okay? While, of course, you are being encouraged by your outgoing chair, okay? Maurice, you cool? All right, how are we looking?
Je dirais à vous tous qu'une année, le succès d'une année doit commencer par un bon départ. Ce bon départ-là, c'est justement ce handover, cette transmission des éléments, cette transmission des informations du club, sans oublier ce qu'on appelle les Rotary Leads, c'est-à-dire des gens qui ont exprimé leur désir de rejoindre le Rotary à travers le Rotary international. Et ces informations nous reviennent au niveau du district et nous distribuons ces informations aux différents clubs par le biais des AG. C'est très important de suivre ces gens qui expriment le besoin, l'envie de retrouver notre belle organisation. Et là aussi, ce sont des informations à transmettre à votre nouvelle équipe, parce que votre nouvelle équipe va les suivre, va les contacter, va discuter avec eux, va essayer de savoir ce qu'ils attendent du Rotary et ce qu'ils peuvent donner au Rotary. Donc, il est très important de suivre tous ces leads. C'est plusieurs par an, c'est plusieurs dizaines de personnes dans notre fantastique district. Et comme a dit Gisèle, le district s'occupe aussi de vous former et de faire en sorte que tout le monde soit logé à la même enseigne, que tout le monde puisse avoir les mêmes informations, la même formation. Et en plus, comme Gisèle et moi, concernant le membership, nous faisons partie de la nouvelle équipe encore. Soyez certains qu'à chaque fois que vous avez besoin d'une information, d'une formation, on est là. Même si Gisèle, des fois, doit aller faire la fête, eh ben, je prends sa place pour rester et pour vous servir.
Well, we know how it is, right? So yes. So on that note of party, we want to also remind you guys that it is going to be a new year. It's going to be a new fantastic Rotary year that we come into July 1st. I know our DG is counting down the days, but we also want to give you guys some tips as we go into the new year. And the reason we kept this call open, not just to CMCs, but to anyone else who wanted to come into the call, was because membership is so much more than one position, right? So we sung it in a little bit cliched here, but it's so true, right? So here are some tips that we wish to share with you. Okay, I believe Maurice touched on it in terms of the learning center. So we need to keep ourselves open to learning. Our Rotary International Learning Center is the ideal place for any new director of any type, especially our membership chair, to go in, get the information, and also learn more. You know, what are the tips? What are the tools that I can use? In terms of learning, our zone is so special because MAP was born within this zone, and MAP refers to the Membership Action Plan. It's yet another tool that's actually made from our membership, right? Reflecting those tasks and tips that have worked, tried and true methods that continue to work and are now packaged into, I think the term they use, bite-sized chunks that can be easily digested by any Rotarian to help your club grow. And we need to also look in that learning, you know, we learn about goal setting and all these things. So it's really a comprehensive step in the right direction. Your committee is especially important. Marisa already reiterated the importance of the role of a sponsor. This is not just about bringing new members and walking away. It's about serving, as Maurice called it, as the godfather of that person as they go through their Rotary experience. They are not yet a full-bred Rotarian. They are very new to the organization. So who is going to be there to help guide them, to help encourage them to learn more, to help make their experience so much better? It's the sponsor. You are actually best placed to be that type of support, because we know there's so many things happening in the club. Sometimes we take for granted these new members thinking they'll just fit into everything, but they know they need a little hand holding, and your sponsor really is that best person. Maurice, over to you for the other two, and for anything else you'd like to add.
Oui, bien sûr. Se former pour pouvoir former les autres, c'est votre responsabilité en tant qu'officier de votre club. Vous avez énormément d'outils. Vous avez aussi des personnes compétentes dans le district, dans les équipes du district. Vous avez vos AG, vous avez les DMCs et vous avez aussi le Learning Center. Le Learning Center ne doit pas être une charge pour vous. C'est ludique, c'est heureux, c'est bien fait. Et quand on pense qu'on connaît beaucoup, en participant aux leçons données par le Learning Center, on se rend compte qu'en fait, non seulement on est passé à côté de certaines choses, mais en plus de ça, on bénéficie de certaines expériences d'autres. C'est très intéressant. Et il faut y aller, et c'est notre devoir finalement, si je peux me permettre. Bien sûr, le membership, comme les projets, comme les actions que vous avez, comme la fondation, c'est un projet en tant que tel. Vous qui allez être des présidents, des secrétaires, il faut le penser comme un vrai projet pour son club. Donc, d'avoir un plan, d'avoir un agenda pour vraiment s'occuper de ce compartiment de votre vie d'officier du club. Pourquoi? Parce qu'on le sait très bien. Un membership réussi, c'est autant de projets réussis, c'est autant d'argent qui est de participation à l'exercice de la fondation et bien d'autres choses. C'est toujours le même slogan, grandir plus pour faire plus. Et bien entendu, nous sommes là pour vous accompagner et il serait bon que vous profitiez de cette expérience qui nous remonte à nous et que l'on distille à tous les différents membres des clubs du 70-30.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as we mentioned, we are keeping up the strategy. So take part whenever you could attend one of our quarterly meetups. You are more than welcome. Yes, we have the content focused towards the club membership chair, but any president, any secretary, any AG who would like to be on those calls, we always welcome you to be there, right? And just one more tip we want to leave you with. This is about always making time for fun, food, and fellowship. And for our Rotarians amongst us, certainly those from Suriname, you know that this phrase came from our very own PDG Elwin. And I'm actually going to stop share so that PDG Elwin, who serves as this year's Innovative Club Advocate Chair, he is going to share with us some ways in which we could explore new clubs. All right. So PDG Alvin, I'm stop sharing now. So the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Let me see, turn my camera on. It's a little bit dark. Okay, great. Let me start sharing my screen.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. And together, we turn great ideas into reality by accessing our networks, our experience, and the best of ourselves to make a difference. Around the world, Rotary brings leaders together to build new friendships and to solve problems. Like in Austria, where generations work side by side to come up with innovative ways to build sustainable housing and community centers, everyone learning from each other. In India, volunteers run a mobile blood bank to help provide a steady blood supply for their local community. And in Taiwan, people are working hard to get vulnerable citizens the support and services they need. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. In your backyard and around the world, there's power in our connections. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org.
Thank you, everyone. So thank you, Maurice, and thank you, Giselle, for giving me this opportunity. I am very, very passionate about membership. And you all know that during my years as district governor, I've traveled through all the Caribbean islands and through our district, visit all the clubs. And I saw some very dedicated clubs and people who are willing to put up the work, but we are short of hands. And just like Giselle and Maurice outlined just now, there's a lot of things we could do. It's not only the slogan that I introduced, like fun, food, and fellowship, but there's a lot of things to do for the community, and we need some hands for that. We don't only need your money, or we don't only need your knowledge. We need your participation in growing our organization, just to keep on doing the great work that we are doing. I'm just trying to share my screen, Giselle.
Yes, and we're not seeing anything as yet.
And we are not seeing anything. It's a little bit embarrassing.
That's
Every
okay.
time,
Technology is either your friend or your foe. It's okay.
yeah,
Either way.
it is. Let me see. Are you seeing it now or not?
Mm-mm. No, not
No.
as yet. Your internet is a little choppy, so I don't know if that is affecting it. Ah, look, we're seeing something. Yes, yes, but we're seeing
No.
not your PowerPoint. Yeah, but we saw something.
Anyway, am I
Yeah,
sound,
man. Yes.
am I robotic?
A little bit. So I don't know if you want to go off camera for a little bit, but we're seeing your screen very well.
Okay, great. So talking about membership, I was asked to put up some ideas, and personally, I am not so fond of just putting up clubs. I am into membership growth and into membership development and training the new members. And Maurice has said it very well. If you are bringing someone into the Rotary, make sure to educate and train that person, that individual, to become a better Rotarian. You know, you can only tell the story if you understand the story. You can only talk about Rotary if you understand Rotary. But I want to touch on some alternatives if you look at growing clubs or putting up new clubs. By the way, I'm gonna go very fast on these subjects. We have the satellite clubs, alternatives. We have the passport clubs, Rotaract, and Interact. The satellite clubs are mainly a club that is set up by a Rotary club to nurture new or prospect member without having them in your club. So a group of people coming together where you teach them everything about Rotary. And they are dedicated and they have the obligation to abide by the rules of Rotary. And like they're having a board, going to pets, pay their dues, teaching the norms, the values of Rotary and everything that we do in Rotary. It's like nurturing young people to become a full-grown Rotary club. A passport club has more flexibility. A passport club, as the name says, you're becoming a member of a club, which is, by the way, under the supervision of a Rotary Club, but you are entitled to go and look into other Rotary clubs, what they are doing, because every Rotary Club has a unique way in conducting their own Rotary Club. So you are very flexible. You don't have the demands of meeting frequently. You don't have the demands of paying your dues like we're paying in the real Rotary, but we are nurturing you to become a full Rotarian. One of the easiest way to put up a new club is the youngsters that we have, the Rotary actors. And the Rotary actors are, well, we used to say it's the future of Rotary. Now they are part of Rotary, and they are the low-hanging fruits. And I love to work with young people, setting up Rotary Act clubs and Interact clubs. So going over through these kind of clubs, my focus on growing membership and growing clubs is mainly, and I'm 100% with Maurice, looking into my year and what I have experienced in the Caribbean and District 7030. I encounter a lot of small clubs. And by saying small clubs, I think Giselle just mentioned clubs 20 or minus 20, up to 20 people. But I saw clubs from 10 to 12 people in a club. And I told them, you know what? You have to take ownership in your club. And the ownership means if you bring someone in your club, you have to be responsible to educate that person. You are the sponsor, the sponsorship. Organize training session and tell them the compelling story about Rotary. In 2017, at a conference in Suriname, district conference in Suriname, in the eyes of Rotary International representatives, I introduced another program for Rotary. And that program was each one bring one. And I proved that with a Rotary Act club who was dying. And I told them, in fact, you are the one who knows what you need in your club, the dynamics, the chemistries, the relationship, the vibration, everything you know. So when you go out there and looking for new people, look to have connections so that you can grow your club in a vibrant way. We had that Rotary Act Club, by the way, Rotary Act Club of Fresh, that was chartered by myself and others in our club, went from 35 members to 12, and I challenged them with this program, each one bring one. So I told them, each one of you bring some individual insight. There was a restriction. A male was prohibited to bring a male person. You had to bring the opposite sex. So a boy had to bring a girl had to bring a boy. This club was very successful in implementing this program, each one bring one. And I brought this program to the zone. And in the zone meeting, I told them about my program. And eventually Rotary International adopted, and they changed the name, Everyone Bring One. But this one is a very successful, very, very successful formula for your club. So don't wait on what's going to be in your environment or people are coming to. It's not going to happen that people are walking into your club and they want to be a member of your club. You have to tell the story. You are the one who knows what you need. And by the way, my favorite slogan of all time, the 3 F's, fun, food, and fellowship. If you don't have fun, if you don't have food, and if you don't have fellowship, you are doomed to die. You have to be very enthusiastic. You have to tell the story with a lot of fun and bring everyone in. Organize some educations, training sessions, get together, talk about things that are our common interests, mutual things that interest you. And by the way, talking about e-learning, I'm very passionate about this. I have this Rotary mobile app on my phone, and I do hope that everyone, each and every one of you has this one. but there's a way to educate yourself. One of is to go online, log into My Rotary, go to e-learning center, and you have everything you need to educate yourself on Rotary. In this particular case, on membership. And you will see everything what I've told you here on satellite clubs, on passport clubs, how to charter a Rotary Act club, how to bring in a new member, how to do a sponsorship. Don't wait, please don't wait on in-person pets, because the way we live now, the modern times, is everything is virtual. So go and log on to this mobile app or to your My Rotary and do your e-learning session. And by the way, I am with Maurice. These sessions, these training modules, courses are not static. They are constantly changing and adapting to the modern times we are living in. And if you're done with a module, or if you're done with a course, you are getting a certificate as a proof that you have finished this course. So in all, looking at growing into membership, educating yourself, yes, it's a good thing to put up new clubs, but I prefer to take ownership and sponsorship and responsibility into telling the story, educate your members, and growing together, because we need you all. Thank you so much.
Really love that. Thanks so much. And that's why he's our innovative club chair, right? So you got all those, bits and pieces to allow for us to really think outside the box as it pertains to our growth, right? And all the different elements that we can pull from to allow for us to experience Rotary in a different way by bringing in different types of members into our organization. So I'm going to jump back in with sharing the screen, right? As we are lit. Yes,
Giselle?
sorry, PDG.
Sorry,
Yeah?
Giselle, I just missed something.
No, you go ahead. Your slide is still up. Yeah.
My take on the e-learning center, the language doesn't have to be an obstacle to you. You can log in into English, into Spanish, into French, whatever a language you need. So that's no excuse to educate yourself into e-learning center. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thanks for that, because that matters for our district. Absolutely. That's a good nugget. And I promised PDG Alvin, I would say his full name, right? So it's PDG Alvin Admo de Mejo, right?
Yes,
so take a little breath.
I will send you the car. I will send you the car.
So you need to take a little breath, right, before you say the last name, but it's fantastic. So thanks again. So guys, just in wrapping up, we wanna, as PDG Alvin did, just to remind you who the team is, and we're so fortunate to have our District 7038 team here. So continuing from this year, we have, of course, myself and Maurice, right? Continuing on as your district membership coaches, right? We have a slight switch. Our PDG Alvin is jumping over to foundation, but as we know, we're all mixed, right? We need members to grow the foundation, we need to grow more, to do more. So we're right there with them. And he is being followed by ICA or ICA elect, right? Mario Boyce, who actually was our person running everything so smoothly behind the scenes for today's call, right? Mario's on the screen, wonderful. So we're going up now to the big boys, right? We have our PDG Lyle, and PDG Lyle has a fantastic position where he works on the zone's membership team as an assistant Rotary coordinator. So he has oversight not only of our district, but of 7020, our brother or sister district, if you think of it, and Puerto Rico, right? Because our zone, of course, is Georgia, we have Florida and the Caribbean, right? And then he sits on that committee that is chaired by the Rotary coordinator, who is Mary Ligon. So she's coming in to start the new term, replacing Mike Dura. You may know him as well. And then we are very fortunate to have the RI director elect, here with us Patrick Eakes, and he is taking the role of Jeremy, right? Who, of course, Jeremy Hurst, who, of course, hails from right here. Well, he lives right here in the Caribbean in District 7020, but I'm sure he considers himself a Caribbean guy. So we do have a little surprise for you, as we are actually going to hear from our Rotary International Director-elect, Patrick Eakes, and I am going to read what I really loved. He has bios in 3 forms. Isn't that efficient? So we chose today the most efficient one, right? I am going to read this to you now as I pull it up. Right, here we go. So, sorry, technology, right? We have okay, great. So we have our Rotary International Director-elect for 2024-2026, Patrick Eakes. So Patrick recently served zones 33 and 34 as the training chair and also as chair of the Membership Action Plan, or MAP as we know it. He also served as vice chair of the Carolina, President-elect Training Seminar. He previously served as Zone 33's Rotary Coordinator, Innovative Club Advocate, just like PDG Elwin and soon President Mario. And then we have he was also an Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator and a Paul Harris Society Coordinator. Patrick lives in Greensboro, North Carolina, with his wife, Kristen, and 2 children who are both active in Rotary projects. Patrick is a recipient of the Distinguished Service Award and the Service Above Self Award. And of course, we welcome him as our incoming RI Director who will serve 2024-2026. Over to you, Patrick. I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, thank you so much, Giselle. It is a treat for me to be with all of you this evening. I'm joining you from Evanston, Illinois, in the United States. I'm at Rotary International Headquarters today through Friday, but it's a real treat to be able to be with you all. First of all, to say congratulations, and secondly, to say thank you for just your incredible work this year in membership. It truly is amazing. You saw the slide earlier that you're up 113 members. That's almost 5% this year. And let me back that up, 113 Rotarians. You're also up 56 Rotaractors, which is about 7%. So altogether, that's 169 more people who are in Rotary, who are making a big difference in your communities. Really, they're enhancing everything good about Rotary, because we measure membership in numbers because it's the easiest way, maybe the only way, to measure membership. But what the world feels and what we as members feel is that we're doing more in our communities. We're making more friends. We're making more business connections, and we're probably providing more support to our Rotary Foundation. Just everything about Rotary is better with more members. So I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to thank you and to congratulate you and to encourage you to keep this going, because as you saw in that slide, that yellow line, and Giselle is right, that yellow line is an indication that historically, for the last several years, if you average it, your district will typically lose about 3% of its, in that case of that line, Rotarians. So you've heard tonight, let's pledge together that we're not going to let a 5% gain go all the way down to 2% by losing 3%. Let's be sure that we're introducing our friends and our neighbors and our work colleagues and the people in our lives, that we introduce them to Rotary, that we give them an opportunity to see the impact it has on each of us, and that we share that. because we want to avoid that June purge. Membership really needs to be a 12-month strategy. One, we want to finish strong at the end of this 2023-24 year, but we also want to have good momentum going into the 2024-25 year. So I encourage you to keep doing what you've been doing. Giselle mentioned that I had chaired the membership action plan for our current director, Jeremy Hurst. And I think most of you are aware, but just to be sure, we do produce a monthly webinar, as Giselle said, bite-sized chunks. We never go over 45 minutes in length. Sometimes it's 35 to 40 minutes. We try to keep it tight. We typically have club leaders or sometimes assistant governors or even the occasional district membership chair who will be on to share successes from where they live. And that could be in the Caribbean, that could be in the US state of Georgia, that could be in Washington, DC. But we let them share their story of what they've done that's worked, where they've had success. The next MAP webinar is on May 13th. We're almost always on the second Tuesday of each month, and that's at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I think right now that matches up to Atlantic Standard Time during this part of the year. But that May 13th webinar is going to be about building a membership plan for next year. So it's all about starting to build that momentum for the next Rotary year, for that Happy New Year that matches that slide that was up before. And then in June, we're going to have kind of a greatest hits from the year. So that will be a great opportunity to get the best 2 or 3 or 4 minutes from each of our previous webinars during this Rotary year. Again, the second Tuesday in June. So we hope you'll take advantage of that. We certainly hope you'll take advantage of the Membership Success Center. That slide you saw that had the yellow dashed line that we call the success track and had the blue line that your district where you've stayed above that success track all year, that's also available for each of your clubs. So you're able to see that kind of information for your clubs to see how you're doing, to see if you can finish in positive territory for the year. So my hope is that you're going to finish this year strong. You're going to move into the next Rotary year just as strong. Remember, we'll be talking about the magic of Rotary, and I think that fits so well with membership because I was asked at a district conference in Florida over the weekend, how do you describe Rotary in just a few seconds? And I said, it's where I've made some of my best friends. It's where I get together with them to have a positive impact in my community. And it's where my heart gets filled. And I think that when we share what we feel in our hearts, what Rotary gives us, because it does give us so much, when we share that with friends, some of them are going to want to add Rotary to their lives. So I hope that you will share what's in your Rotary heart. You'll continue to keep a big emphasis on membership, that you won't let your district fall 3% in June, and that you'll finish up strong. And I want to give my thanks to all of you, as well as to Maurice and to Giselle, your leaders in the district for membership, for my friend Governor Bryan, and for my buddy past Governor Elwin. We served as governors together. So I appreciate what everybody on this call is doing for Rotary membership, and I want to see it keep it going. But thanks so much for giving me a few minutes.
Very wonderful. It's always wonderful to have you here with us, Patrick, and we look forward to seeing many more opportunities with you in person, maybe as well.
We're working on in person for the early part of next year. I'm hoping we can make that happen.
Absolutely, and we're ready for you whenever. So thanks so much again. And guys, so with that, because we really wanted to leave you guys with some words of inspiration, right? So that you are, you continue this energy, you continue this excitement around membership, right? So I'm just going to hand over to Maurice for him to do some closing words. And right after that, we go into our questions and answer, okay?
Well, I'll do that in English if you allow me. I'm sorry for the interpreters who are expecting me speaking in English. Sorry about that. I want DJ Brian and Director-elect Patrick that ain't no stopping us now, and we're gonna finish strong. And I will work on that. And Giselle is beside me, and we're not gonna let this line drop for sure. And for my last word to all of you, it's for me, because people like you, that world turn round. Is that right? You make the world turn round, and I want to thank you, and I'm happy to be a Rotarian.
Yes, certainly very happy to be a Rotarian. So guys, the floor is open. We are certainly welcoming any questions or comments you may have. You know, it's open to the team as well. So team, be ready for any questions. So guys, over to you. Of course, we remain available throughout the year. So, you know, if nothing tonight, we're okay with that as well. But yeah, certainly open to any comments anyone may have. I hope you could unmute. I hope so.
Hey, Giselle.
Hey.
Nita.
Oh, yes, there. Hey, Kenita.
I just wanted to circle back to a question I had on the opening day of PIPS in terms of bridging the intergenerational divide within a club, where even in the leadership, the leadership of our club now has a lot of newer Rotarians, or as we say in our club, less seasoned Rotarians, because we don't want to use old or anything like that. So how is it that, or do you have any strategies or tips that we could employ to try to make our more seasoned Rotarians still feel welcome in the space, still feel included in what we're going to do in terms of the types of activities, the types of service projects? I don't know. We're open to suggestions, so.
Yes. Now I noticed you said my name, right? But I know you meant that generally towards the team. But no, I'll give it a go. And of course, the response is open to everyone. Yes. I first of all, yay, you guys, for understanding that we need to always include all our membership types. I think Rotary is one of the few organizations where you can find, you know, that full age range, you know, all those different, what do you call them? Is it generations? Yeah. That you have within the same club. Exactly. Within the same club, right? And so that is a challenge. It's a challenge to many clubs. And as you said, there are some things. One suggestion I would give is meeting them where they are. So these are long-standing Rotarians, I assume. So if we have newer people coming into the club, because we are focusing on growing, we're focusing on strengthening our club so that we can do more. The idea is that they have that institutional knowledge around your club, around your culture. So putting them to be part, or inviting them, asking them to be part of some sort of mentorship opportunity, I think is one of the good ways. So you give them, you know, a mutually agreed purpose in the club. So we're not just assuming they want to do it. We ask them, you know, there may be something, maybe they're the foundation guru. Maybe they're, you know, someone that's excellent at fundraisers or planning. In our club, we have an 83, I wonder if she'll kill me out. I already said her age, I won't say her name. An 83-year-old who is a guru at projects, right? And we love to just be around her, learning and running with that energy as well. So that would be my one suggestion about a membership, co-membership, mentorship program using your membership type. Open to the team if anyone else to jump in for Kunita's sake. Yeah.
Est-ce que je peux, can I, yeah? Can I say something to Kenita? Yeah. There is what we call the culture of Rotary. Culture of Rotary demands learning and being trained, demand time to get this culture. Very often there is new members, let's say, or new Rotarian or younger Rotarian comes and want to change things, but they have to get this culture, which is an heritage and a tradition that we as Rotarian, we have the duty to give to as a legacy. But on the same time, it's a call that I'm making for the old, I don't like the word, but the very old, the old Rotarian. Is
Seasoned.
that, excuse me?
We say seasoned in our club.
Season, okay. In some clubs, well, it's a call that I made to them, asking them to leave more and more room for this new energy that is coming and to work along with them. And each of them has, each generation has to work together because it's for the sake of a great club. And it's really a call because this is a problem that I have met with a lot of different clubs. And it's two parts that have to work together. And the new has to get this culture, which is really touchable. And the, how did you say, the season? Yeah, Rotarian, please leave a lot of room for the new one. Please help them to achieve this transformation.
Yeah.
If I may,
Of course you may.
I just like to add, I also think it goes hand in hand of one, understanding traditionally where the Rotary Club has come from, and two, where you as a new Rotarian are coming into and how you can make the best of both worlds. Sometimes it's an ego situation where people may be intimidated by the seasoned Rotarians and not sure how to approach them or how to make certain changes or tweaks with how the club does stuff. But I do think we as Rotarians can dike yourself. When I say dike yourself, I just mean take a step back, move where you go from the situation. Look at each other as just people. People may have different titles. People may have a long-standing big jar seasoning, where you may have just a small seasoning jar, you know, learning as well. But you need to be able to work together, balance each other. When you're looking to add seasoning to a dish, you add just enough salt and just enough pepper to make sure you have that euphoric taste. And we as Rotarians need to do that. We need to learn how to work with each other. And that starts with what DG Elvin would have said as well. Food, fellowship, and fun. Work next to each other, learn more about each other, remove some of that big intimidation factor that you may have, build up that rapport with people, and then it gets to be such a time of working with your friends, your family, your Rotary colleagues as well. And you just see the synergy rise in the club, and the club then grows further. You move away from the static traditions, and you're now open to growing as a club and not stagnating or going to go that moment way. I hope that helps you, Kunita.
Very much so. Thank you. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Can I tap into this, Giselle?
Absolutely.
Kanita, this is a great question because as we may not say so, a lot of clubs in our district are dealing with this issue. And I'm so happy you brought this up. But I'm trying to understand your problem. Is it that the seasoned Rotarians are having problems that new Rotarians are in the board? Or are unprepared new members in the board? What is it exactly?
It's a combination of our legacy Rotarians not necessarily being as open to some of the new stratagem where technology is concerned, or just departures from some of the traditional underpinnings of the club, where you'd find that our younger leaders are now more aligned to taking on issues such as things that used to be relaxed in the past are now at the forefront, like pendants and timely paying of dues. And I mean, these are all part and parcel of Rotary life. But it feels like the departure from the historical orientation where, I mean, people change, generations move on. What used to be fun and food and fellowship no longer has that same or similar kind of pull. So you find that there isn't that common ground for those things anymore. So it's like, how do you try to bring the club back into a space where everybody can see themselves or feels included in what is considered fun and fellowship?
Well,
Apart from we all have the same heart for service at the end of the day.
absolutely. Let me start by picking up that last word that you used, included. I'm going to emphasize that in another way, inclusion. It's another way. By the way, I'm also DEI advocate in Suriname and in my club for implementing the diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, for me, I am the club trainer forever, and I used to do a lot of things, but people very underestimate the value of education. We don't realize that the Rotary is constantly changing. That's why we keep on growing in comparison to other surface club, other clubs like the Rotary. We are constantly growing, constantly moving, constantly have new things, and we adapt new changes. But we have to be aware to educate that in our club for the new members as well as for the seasoned members. And I'm happy that you mentioned that, we were used that everything was relaxed and everything was going our way. You know, those times when Rotary clubs were only check writing clubs, doing nothing, or Rotary clubs were, this is my seat, I have a designated seat at this table, this is my seat. No one sits here. Those were the times. I'm a little bit seasoned too. I'm bold and green, so I know what I'm talking about. The thing is that if we don't educate our clubs, we will still running circles in our club. And a lot of club, and maybe we don't acknowledge this, but a lot of club in District 7030, as I've seen, are dealing with it. Let me give you another example. Do you know that we had only male clubs in our district? Talking about changing, then talking about changes. And I'm looking at Lyle. Are we still having those clubs, Lyle, in our district? We used to make fun of it when we were at the Council of Governors. Not fun, but we are very sad to hear that. Talking about changes, talking about adapting. And we were able to have one in Suriname changing all that. When the first female came in, a lot of, male fellows, male members left the club. But guess what? That club now is a very vibrant and still heavily growing in membership because of the balance and of the vibration and the chemistry and the fun food and fellowship that is in that club. but you have to take care of education, educate the people. You know, talk with them. If anyone talks about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I will stand in first in line to talk about that, because that is the lack that we have, the lack of knowledge that we have in our district. But I'm very happy that you mentioned this. Sponsorship for the new members is very okay. So instead of throwing them in the lake and let them swim, try to swim, prepare them. Just like Mario said, prepare them, educate them, make sure that they understand the culture, like Maurice said, not only for Rotary, but for the club. What does your club need? So when they talk and speak to the members, we all speak the same language, because at the end of the day, like you mentioned, Kenita, we all are doing work for the community, not for ourselves. The second thing is that don't lose your members, the new members, because you're lacking sponsorship. Take your responsibility. You brought someone in, make sure that that one individual, that member, does understand what it means, the value of being a Rotarian. Someone will pick it up. Some of them will, just go. Some of them will still be a check writing member. So be it. But take the responsibility of educating them, not only the new members, but also the seasoned member as well. So I hope this, with the contribution of everyone, will guide you through. And if not, feel free to contact any one of us. Although I will be jumping to assist the PDG Wadi for the Rotary Foundation, I will still support a membership, because my real passion is membership development.
Wonderful, so wonderful. So thanks again, Benita, for that great question. Guys, what we are going to do, because we did book this session for a certain amount of time, is I think coming out of the feedback from actually Kenita's question, we touched on many different things. Should anyone though have any other questions, certainly you can contact any one of us, as PDG Elvin said. But I do think at this time we are going to draw this session to a close. And we just really want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making the effort. We know this time of year is crazy, right? And every day, every night is competing with a million other things. So thanks for choosing membership. And we look forward to being with you guys in the new year, continuing these conversations. And, as the year winds down, we certainly hope that you finish strong. That's really all we can ask our clubs to do. Continue doing the work you've been doing, continue celebrating Rotary, and really sharing your story with others so that they are excited to be part of this great organization. So we want to thank, of course, PDG Elvin, PDG Lyle, our Zoom connoisseur, ICA-elect Mario Boyce, and last but certainly not least, unfortunately, he did have to jump off because, as we mentioned, he's in Evanston, our RI Director-elect Patrick East, right, for the time and the efforts that was put into this session. So guys, thank you again. And we will be signing off at this point. Look out for the recording as well. Have a great night, everyone.